Hello and welcome to the Marriage Be Hard Conversations. I am KevOnStage. This is my lovely wife,
MrsKevOnStage.
and today we are joined in conversation by our friends from the Bald and the Beautiful, Marcus and Angel Tanksley. If you guys are watching or listening and don't know them, could you please introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Angel Tanksley.
I'm Marcus Tanksley.
We are
Half of the bottom beautiful.
Yes, there you go. We've been married for 15 years, together for 18, and we create content together.
Nice. Well, we're going to be having some conversations about laughing, loving, and learning, which is from our book, Marriage Be Hard, which is out September 13th or available now, depending on when you are watching this. Buy a copy. Melissa, how are you?
Hello, I'm fine.
Take it away.
I'm loving this. This is so different than the Bald.
It really
Beautiful.
is.
I'm loving it.
It's like, what's happening? Where are we going? Thank you, Angel and Marcus, for joining us for our Marriage Be Hard conversations. If you watching may not know, or the two of you may not know, we have several different chapters in the book Marriage Be Hard out September 13th. And each chapter we tackle a different Be Hard of marriage. This conversation with the two of you will be centered around quarantine.
Big Q, big T.
The very unique experience that we've all encountered together in the year of our Lord and Savior, 2020.
Yes.
We learned quite a bit about each other, about ourselves, about marriage, about relationships. There was a whole host of learning
Yes.
that took place in the year 2020. So we want to dive deep. We want to get into it. But before we do that, we have one question that we ask all of our guests, because we have so many.
Yes, and that
Only
question is,
Conversation number 2.
what is the biggest misconception about you guys' marriage? Especially because you guys have podcasts and reels and all that type of stuff that you do together. Social media can kind of paint things one way. What do you think people might have wrong about you?
I would say it's more of a misconception of him. Marcus is a softie when it comes to me. And it might be difficult to see that in how we present ourselves online.
Yeah.
But he is a big softie when it comes to me.
BS?
Sure.
Big softy.
Yeah.
Marcus is a big softy. With the guns and the whiskey?
With the guns and the whiskey.
You eating guns and whiskey with
With
her?
my wife and kids.
What does that mean? What does that look like?
Marcus really does not, like, if he hurts my feelings, his day is ruined without me having to ruin it for him.
Do bullets come out of your eyes when you
Lead.
Lead?
Lead tears.
Pure
You can
lead?
hear them hit the floor. They hit the floor and they dent the floor a little bit. They don't even crack open.
Yeah, like I would say, like, he definitely truly cares about not being the reason why I am upset or sad. Like that, he'd rather cuss out folk in the middle of a church and be deemed
I've almost done
not
it
saved. You have be deemed not saved, not love the Lord, than to upset me in private.
Wow.
Yeah,
That is a misconception.
Especially like the way we, even like earlier on when I first started, getting in front of the camera, being on with her, people were like, oh, he's so mean. Angel could do better. I'm like, shut up. You don't know me.
Angel could do better?
Oh, yeah. People just
Dang.
fly off and say stuff.
Oh, you meant when you guys first got together?
No.
When he first joined me on camera.
Oh.
Yeah, just because I'm just like, I'm blunt. I say it. And then I'm like, all right, so how could people better receive that? I really don't be caring. I didn't care. Now I'm like, all right, Marcus, soften up on your delivery a little bit.
It's so funny because all Marcus' social media is negative. It's Marcus ain't on the gram. Tank don't talk. It's all like, I don't want to be here. But with Angel, I
check
do.
my last 5 posts and see how far apart they were spread.
He's like, I'm gonna stick true to this name. You barely gonna see me.
Hey, no, that's a good one though. I didn't even think about that.
MrsKevOnStage. I don't want to be here though.
Miss Kev off stage.
There you go.
Yeah. But yeah, I didn't even think about that. I was trying to think like, what is? I don't know. I think another misconception. I think from the people that follow us, the closest, is that we have this extraordinary amount of money.
No, people think we got money?
Oh yeah.
Oh. That's wrong.
People think about me too. I'll be like, what gives
Shut
you
up,
that
Kevin.
impression?
You.
Exactly.
You telling them.
Correct. Correct. One of the second questions that we ask all of our couples before we get directly into the quarantine be hard of it all is yes or no, agree or disagree. Is marriage hard?
Nah.
No. Tell us why.
I hear that. I've always heard that, like, it's hard work and you got to do this and got to do that. And me and Angel always look at each other and I'm like, so is something difficult coming down
We are waiting
the pipeline?
for the shoe to
Because we're
drop.
15 years in and it's just like, no, this is pretty easy and fun. I don't know. I mean, granted, it ain't all like rainbows, but I'm like the bad parts is like, hi, you remember we was mad because you got the wrong ice cream?
Right.
Like I don't know, maybe people's definition of hard is different than my definition of hard. I've seen a lot of marriages that ended in divorce. And the things that they have gone through, and not to compare, we haven't come anywhere near the stuff that they had to like fight through to get to ultimately decide this is not for us. So for me, in my life experience, this is not one of the hard things I've had to do.
Yeah.
But I can see how someone might say it is hard. I, however, would not.
Yeah.
Personally, in my experience with this one.
Yeah, I was like, clearly Kevin's doing something wrong. He named his book. But no.
You butthole. See, this is why people don't think he's a softie, because he's a.
I was just playing.
We want to get a title that people see when they see it at the Hudson
But
booksellers.
no, but that's a common thing. It's like we definitely hear that more than not. Of it's hard. It's hard work. I can see where people can think of keeping this person happy or making sure that you're not getting stagnant. I can see how that could be challenging, but I wouldn't call it hard.
Marriage be challenging.
Challenging is their word in hard. If you put up
Is
the
it
sword.
Control V? What is it when you could do the thesaurus automatically?
Hey,
Oh,
hey.
I don't
I didn't
know.
know you
Control
could do
T on Microsoft Word.
Yeah,
put
back
up
in the
the
day on
thesaurus?
Microsoft Word. I used to
Yeah,
I
do
can
that.
see how it could come with challenges,
Yes.
not be challenging.
I think we've just been blessed that a lot of the growth that I feel like can cause, or lack of growth, and what do you call it? What's the opposite of growth?
Stagnation.
We could say that, yeah.
Very good.
Shrinkage.
That's what I was thinking of when people go in the opposite
Oh, regress.
Backslide.
regression.
Backslide.
There we go.
Backslide.
We've experienced at the same time, because I think that's what can cause it to be really, really hard, is when like one person is having a lot of growth and the other person is either stagnant or regressing, or vice versa. And luckily, both growth and regression, we have been right on the same page, getting stupider together or getting or getting smarter together. So that has been a blessing that we did not coordinate. That was nothing but the Lord, thank God.
Got it.
Very good. So one of the things that you guys are talking about is obviously, I think this is a blessing. I think this is beautiful. I love these answers. For quarantine, what did it teach you about yourselves individually? And then what did it bring up as a couple? I'm going to leave it there. I was going to provide more context. I'm not.
Oh, I love
for-
witness.
I love context from Alyssa.
Now, for me, as far as learning about myself, I realized as much of an introvert as I am, I still want the option to be an introvert. When I'm forced to be an introvert, I'm very much so an extrovert. I'm like, I want to cook for more. I want to be on the grill for more than just Angel and the kids. I want to grill out for my friends. I want people to be around. I want people to be around so I can say, hey, I don't want to be around people. But removing that option is just like, no. Like, I think it's human nature. Like, people need to be around people. You're meant to socialize. Even if you are a loner, you will lose your mind if you don't communicate with people.
Yeah.
Not to say I wasn't communicating with anybody, but it's just like, oh no, you're forced to stay here and be here. And that taught me that, hey, you're an introvert. However, you're an extroverted introvert.
Yeah. For me, like, I really got to see how much I truly love my family and like doing stuff for them. But because I had the outlet of leaving them prior to the pandemic, I realized how important that portion of my life was. Like having that removed, I did get to do like a lot of fun stuff that I would have never had time to do. Like I took the kids camping inside of the kitchen and like planned a whole day or night of like, we did s'mores. I hid fake animals in our backyard that they had to find. Like I got to do really fun stuff, but because I didn't get to leave the house ever, I drank a lot. I realized I was like,
I was drinking a lot.
Oh my God. Is it 12?
Glug, glug, glug. Kids are still home, huh?
Right. And I mean, and I had barely any. The only time I actually got to leave the house was when me and you started doing the podcast together. That was literally the only time I was gone away from the kids. They were in the house with me. I was trying to help them with school. And these are all things that, like, a part of me had always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I didn't realize how important I needed to have, like, a reset with my friends or just even a reset by myself. Let me just get my nails done somewhere for the 2 hours and not see y'all's faces or think about y'all at all. And so instead I had to go into a drunken stupor to think that they weren't around. So that's what I learned about myself. What I learned about this one here, or about us, was that I actually did enjoy being around him. We have always had a marriage where he was gone for most of the day.
Even with quarantine, I was gone every other day.
Yeah, but I never had you at home during the week at all.
Right.
That was something we had never experienced. Our entire relationship has been, we only had maybe truly 5-6 hours at the end of the day to spend with each other. It was never like all right, other than like the weekend. You know what I'm saying? So I was worried that I was going to find out, I don't want you here. I want to do the things that I want to do in this house without your opinion on top of it. But it turned out like, I enjoy you being in the space that I am in.
Yeah.
When I am doing the things that I want to do that might not even involve you. I enjoy you actually being in the space. Because I was actually, I was worried about that. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I wanted him home because I wanted him safe, because obviously we didn't know what was going on in the world. I was like, everything could be burning down, and we might be next. But at the same time, I was like, this is going to be real different, because for 2020, we had been married for 13 years at that time or something like that. We had never experienced having to, I was afraid it was going to be suffocating. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And we lived in a smaller house at that time, so there's very few places you can go. It's either you in the dining room or the bedroom or maybe the den. But then after that, we back into each other's faces again. So that was what I feel like I learned about us in that time.
Yeah, for me, it's similar. It was not just from being away from work, glad to be home, but I always wanted to spend more time with my family, but I was always gone. So those days that I was home, I always look forward to. It's like nothing made me feel better than knowing I can get up, for one, not have to go into the office, but two, be around my family. Yeah. And that never dwindled away. It was just like, no, I could definitely do it. As a matter of fact, I could spend more days at home. Yeah. You know, the weeks that I only go in the office 2 days, how about we make it, 1 day or no days at work, But then I'll have to keep it at that. Like, that was one thing I definitely enjoyed, is for one, spending my entire career away from my family throughout the week and extended days at work, finding out, oh no, I do actually like being around these people.
I think I had gotten used to being so busy so much. What was surprising was we had just got a new house at the very beginning of quarantine, like the first month.
That big old house.
Big old house. And the boys, that was their first time having their own room. So and we had a smaller house at the very beginning of quarantine.
That was also filled with boxes.
So it was even like, wasn't no den. We couldn't even get to the back room. It was filled with furniture and stuff.
The dining room.
Yeah. So the boys used to always be making some noise, wrestling, laughing, whatever. When we moved to that house, Melissa and I had this room here. Zay had his room. Joe had his room. They had their own bathroom. I had an office there. We was in there often 4 people in 4 rooms with 4 closed doors. And it was such a different experience than the house that we were used to of like laughter and all this stuff. And I think I was guilty. I felt guilty about how much time I enjoyed, even like on a plane. Like on a plane, I had a whole situation. I go noise canceling on, boop, R&B, sleep, wake up, watch the show, whatever. Spending time in a hotel room by myself because I was on tour prior to the quarantine. And it was just hotel room into the show, and I would just have my toes wiggling, room service come in, and then all of a sudden I was at home, and I was like, dang, I want to be in that room by myself. Why do I want to be in a room by myself? My family's here. And then I would be going in the room by myself watching The Office, and Melissa would be like, why is everybody in a different room? And I was just like, can you close the door when you go away? So I was watching The Office. But I felt guilty because, like Marcus, I'm usually gone on the road or traveling or whatever, or going to work or shooting podcasts, just going. And at the beginning, I thought we'll be staying at home and we'll have a lot of time. And then I was just like, dang, all that going and going. I was used to that. Mm-hmm. Staying felt abnormal. And it's much easier to have a family night when you ain't seen them. You're allowed to miss them. And then when you see them every second of every day, you don't miss them. And then I didn't want to do the family stuff. I was just like, I want to watch Michael Scott. He's funny and comforting. You know what I mean? So,
and I'm the extra.
Yeah. I know.
That's
I didn't realize
Kev's biggest misconception is that he's extroverted all the time, y'all. He's not.
I am like a robot off of a shift. When them cameras go off, it's like, mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I have to recharge these batteries to be this big person. After I record them dad jokes, I'll be like, ha, 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 end. Yeah. Post.
So, go ahead.
No, I was just saying I felt guilty. I thought I would be like, oh, this is great. You know what I mean? Because I remember that, and I'll let you go.
No, go ahead.
I was on the treadmill in Tampa when I got my first cancellation. I was supposed to go to a Black Twitter event in New York. And Twitter emailed me. They were like, yo, this is my first out of abundance of caution email. Out of abundance of caution, we're going to cancel this event, but we're going to pay you guys. And I was like, sweet. I told Liz, hey, they're going to give me the amount of money and I'll get to come home early. I'm going to be able to go to JoJo's soccer tournament. She was like, oh, this is great. We're going to go to Arizona. Remember this? Mm-hmm. Well, when I tell you I got on the plane, Liz texted me. She said, man, tournament's canceled. I was like, what? And then it was just, also this is canceled, and your tour dates, and this. Mm-hmm. And then it was just like, wait, I thought it was just one abundance of caution. And now everybody's cautious. And then my other thing was fear. I remember touring was our biggest income. And it didn't go down. It went to 0.
Right.
So I was always afraid of getting canceled. Like, oh my God, if I get canceled, I'm gonna make no money. I got canceled by coronavirus.
Right.
That went down to 0. Then our podcast ads went down. It was just like, oh my God. So that was the other thing that was, I learned about myself, that my wildest dreams could come true. And I didn't even say nothing crazy to nobody's audience. It was just a virus that canceled me.
Isn't that crazy?
Well, during quarantine, I guess actually slightly after quarantine is when we started like our therapy journey as a couple, because we realized that during quarantine for us, it unearthed, I don't know why, I think you've used this analogy where quarantine was like a pressure cooker, where it was an opportunity where all of these things were kind of building underneath the surface for years, to be honest, for years at a time. And then all of a sudden you're in this environment where it's like, so we have 2 options. We're either going to kill each other or we're going to discuss these so things can get better. Yeah. My question is, I don't know if quarantine, in some ways we're still into quarantine, some ways we're not, therapy occurred for you guys in therapy happened for you guys during quarantine, and was it an opportunity to grow your marriage in a way that looks different than pre-quarantine? Is my question making sense?
You're asking if we did therapy during quarantine?
Correct.
So not during that 2020 where we were stuck in the house with each other.
Okay.
We did not do therapy then. It was the tour that made me go, we're gonna
prior
need
to doing tour, yeah.
Okay. So post quarantine, this is before quarantine.
No, I did tour after
2021.
Oh, dang. My math is off.
Yeah,
It didn't seem
quarantine
right.
has ruined
Yeah.
time,
Oh,
space.
yeah.
There's no constant.
Time, space continuum.
Yeah.
The quarantine ripped the fabric in the
Yeah.
space-time continuum.
Dang, I really thought it was before. Okay, correct. Okay, all the time pieces are coming together right now. Okay, so quarantine happened. We're out of quarantine. Things are great. You guys have had a great time during quarantine. Things are fantastic. What is because really at the end of the day, quarantine is a marker and it is a period of transition. So for us, that period of transition was quarantine. It unearthed things or allowed things to become much closer to the surface when the busyness of life, you mentioned nails, I probably said that 3,000 times.
I literally was thinking that when she said that.
During quarantine, the busyness of life allows things to keep going as the status quo, as things normally are, because you're out and you're busy and you're doing things and we don't really have time. What happens when you are still, is that your mind is like, hey, you have time?
Right.
Fantastic. Let's pull all of this stuff that you previously didn't have to. Let's bring it all. Everyone, march.
Yes,
everyone,
come
march.
Come on. Get close. You all know
Yes,
each other.
come on,
Yeah.
everyone.
literally like
Are we all here? Good.
Yeah.
It was like a volcano,
Yeah,
It was like the
absolutely.
tectonic plates.
Yep, for sure.
When you leave, like work or go get your nails done, or you go to your job, them plates shift away.
Yeah.
You're apart. Quarantine was just like, here's
And then-
something from
yeah,
2003
then
you never
friction.
talked
Yeah.
about,
Boom,
and
yeah.
also you just never leaving.
Yeah.
So them things and all that gas, and then it was just like,
Yeah.
So, but the interesting thing about life is that we're always going to have seasons. We're always going to have transitions.
Yeah.
And those can look like, very different things depending on where you are in your journey of life, what you're doing, what your nature of work is, all of those things. So it definitely was for us. Can you tell us what the marker, the transition, the season of tour was for you that made you think, you know what, this is a good idea to take this on now?
Two things. One, now it's me being away from the house, but like in a different way, because it'd be like, 4 days, you're just not going to see me. As well as tour was the marker for we now work together. We had never been.
beginning of a new part of your relationship.
Yes.
Very good. Very good. Stay here, Angel. Go deep in this.
Oh, I'm about to get you in there. I'm about to jump in. So a big thing is that, so Marcus, him having the revelation that he really wanted to be able to spend more time with his family and that his current work situation was not going to go that. Nor
Did
was
that start with quarantine?
I have been. Go ahead. You go ahead.
Now, Now, nah. So that was like I had a whole epiphany, like working toward a certain position at work, talking to people in that position, being close to it, and then just realizing I don't want to do this. So that was the first terrifying thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then always in the
It
back
was
of
the
my
first what?
Terrifying.
Child, I heard you say the first pine cone to fall, and I was like,
And the fact that you're from Kentucky, that was like, okay, that's
"Is
just
this
a phrase I haven't heard
never
anymore.
heard of?"
That's the first pine come from falling.
First pine cone.
Actually,
I
I
don't
can
even
see how that.
Usually I'm quick to come back. I don't even know how to.
That's right.
like,
and
is
it
this
grew
a
into a
saying?
big
so
old
the first
pine tree.
cone to fall.
also makes sense.
It actually does.
It
make
does
sense.
make sense.
It's the new season. The pine cone done fell. Fall's coming in. The trees is dying.
I was confused.
I love it.
So that was the first terrifying thing of realizing that I've been working towards something that I actually don't want. And God has given me a path to get there.
Right.
Even though he was probably like, that ain't what you want to do, but you keep asking here.
Keep going down that
Come
street.
on, go
You'll
ahead.
figure it out soon enough.
You
That's
zone
what I
down
want.
the
Go ahead.
Yellow
I told
Road.
you. Go ahead. But so that happened, and then always having in the back of my mind, like, I want to step away from this 9 to 5 and definitely do this. I just don't know what that looks like, how it goes. This is stable, is what I've been doing. Comfortable in this. Through quarantine, I had no worries about career or anything because the goals that they had set for our projects still had to happen. They didn't care what happened at this point. In 2028, this is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So we
They
gonna
were like,
keep
pandemic
working.
or not, it's
Pandemic,
gonna
or not, it
happen.
ain't gonna be no pandemic. If it is, we done already spent the money, so y'all got jobs. So then I was good through that. So then stepping away from all that stability, or what felt like stability, and into something completely new, fish out of water. I've been knowing what I know how to do. What I do. I've been the man for 20 years, and now you don't know nothing about nothing.
No,
You
nan.
here because of your personality, kind of, and what you've been doing with your wife.
Yeah.
And you don't understand how money comes in, really, even though it's been explained to you over the past 6 months of, hey,
You
Marcus.
used to that direct deposit.
Yeah. Every Friday. I know.
Oh, you got paid weekly?
Oh, yeah.
Woo!
that's
Weekly,
nice.
director salary. I ain't got to work all week. Money's still coming.
Right.
So even her explaining, like, but this is what we're doing. This is what me and you are bringing in together. And I'm like, that's significantly more than. And then this is what we're also doing.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm doing. And then you can possibly grow this, but you can't because you're at work. And then, oh, I'm losing money at work. Now I'm telling myself that I'm losing money going to work, but this is concrete. This ain't. So that was the other transition of actually, all right, now I'm stepping away from my career. Now, step away from my career, going into, people call it stay-at-home dad, but I was actually working. But then transitioning to her leaving and then me being home with the kids, like, which I had never done, like being home with them all the time, them entering a completely different educational experience that nobody knows what the heck is going on.
Zoom school.
Oh, it was awful. It was awful. I told y'all many times that I'm in elementary school.
No, literally.
Yes.
Because you got teachers, you got kids, everybody's using these tablets and laptops and nobody knows what they're doing.
Listen, and
Facts.
real quick, the end of the first year of Zoom school wasn't real. That was
No.
like, we got 6 weeks left.
It was the end of the school
moving.
year.
Yeah.
That beginning of the next school year,
And
when
it was
that was
a
it.
full school
Yeah,
year.
boy, that was a Remember,
Yes.
Joe was like, man,
He was
what?
stressed.
We
I
gotta
was
go.
stressed.
Both of the boys were struggling.
Oh, yeah, no.
But
oh.
they, like you, I just want to reiterate, this was not done before.
No.
In the history of human nature,
This is
kids
not
did not go to school
Right.
electronically ever.
This was completely different.
Yeah.
The reason why, not just me leaving, that I was like, we need therapy, is because, okay, we're about to work together in a field, like he said, he don't know much about. I've been trying to figure this out for, by that time, it was 12 years I started doing being a content creator back in 2009. So I have been like making my way, figuring things out. So I'm trying to figure out what voice I'm supposed to use with him, not to demean him, to try to allow him to make mistakes on his own, but also being like, but you're also not going to mess up what I've already done. So trying to figure out like, okay, this is my partner, not my employee. Not to say I would demean an employee,
Yeah.
but trying to figure out what tone
Yeah.
and in what way can I talk to you to get you to understand what I need you to do, but to also not try to dim what I know.
Yeah.
That I was like, this is Mandarin. I don't know how to do it. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna mess up. I don't know how to do
This
it.
is Mandarin.
That was a big thing, because I was just like, I don't know how to do this.
For the people, because we're going to stay in this spot. For the people, if you find yourself in a position, people watching, listening, however we're going to decide to put this out in the world, for those people, what did you learn in therapy? Like, what were the nuggets that you're like, this is what I now know and what I do better?
Okay. I am really good at initiating conversation.
Okay.
However, that doesn't mean that he wants the conversation at the time. So that then is how you get the characteristic of being a nagging person. It's not so much that I'm nagging. I'm just really good at initiating the conversation towards the
I
thing
love
that
this
I
reframe.
want.
I love this reframe.
Come on, 'cause that's what it is.
I'm not nagging. I'm initiating conversation.
I'm initiating conversation. But if he's not ready to have the conversation, it then feels like nagging. So we had to set a time and a space where he knows the conversation is going to be initiated. So he's not caught off guard. He knows that it's going to happen, and initiate a safe space for us to both ask for where we could use support. Because I ultimately, a lot of times, just want to take over if I see things not being done the way that I know is going to be to the benefit of our company. So we've created a safe space for me to, for him to say, hopefully, okay, I've done X, Y, and Z, but I don't know how to do A, B, and C.
Yeah.
And then I can say, Would you like me to support you in that? Or I can say, hey, I've been doing these things. I really could use you to step up in this area. Do you know how to do it? Do you feel comfortable doing it? Instead of it being, why ain't you doing this and you see me doing this? Or, you know that was wrong. Why does the thumbnail look like that?
Yes.
So, what I have learned, I think your question was what?
Yep. You're answering it right there.
Oh.
It's an opportunity to give people that are listening like some advice. Like, what have you learned through this process? And I think you're offering. You're basically saying, I'm gonna let you say it again, but setting time aside.
Yes, setting time aside so that I can feel comfortable going to him about whatever it is, and not feeling like you're gonna receive this the wrong way. I can't say this to you because you're gonna feel like I'm being like micromanaging or whatever. And then also making sure he has a safe space to ask whatever questions, whether it be for the third, fourth, or fifth time, or to give him the opportunity to decide where he wants support. Because there's certain things that Marcus is just like, no, let me figure this out. If it doesn't get done on the timeline that you thought, know that I am still over here figuring it out, and you can leave me be.
Correct.
Is that correct? Did I? Okay.
Did you want to add anything to your?
Yeah. Well, on my end, it was further understanding where she was coming from, but also I learned that I can allow myself to make mistakes, because initially I was going in, and first I didn't want to help with a whole lot of anything, because it's like, let me figure it out. And then it was just like, okay, no, I'll lean on Angel, because if it was reverse roles, I'd be like, why don't you just come to me and ask? So I would do that, but like she just said, everything don't have to be done your way, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And me figuring out how to verbally say that to her without it feeling like I'm just being combative. It's like, no, I understand that's what you thought, in lack of a better term. That's what you thought, but this is mine, and I'm going to do it this way, and that's fine.
Yeah.
It's always like a specific example. Him and Greg doing their podcast, right? Marcus he's taking off. He's using what he knows. He's asking me questions when he thinks he needs help on something. But for the most part, him and Greg's thing is him and Greg's thing. Now, there was one part that it was just nagging my spirit, because they hadn't got the audio up on any platform. And he kept saying, no, I'm going to do it in this order. And I let him do it that way for about 3-4 weeks. Finally, I was like, if you just go ahead and upload the thing. He was like, no. I was like, please, just in this moment. Father God,
she
please.
did.
I said,
just this one time. Just do it like this.
Just do it the way I'm saying, please. Because he didn't realize that there's a whole approval process. So I'm like, if you start it now, then in 2 weeks when you're saying you want to make them live, everything will already be approved. So that was one of the times where I had to give him the independence to try to do it his way for as long as I could. And finally I was like, this is please
physically hurting me. To watch you do this is physically causing me pain.
Causing me pain. Please, babe.
Yeah, but yeah, her being the expert is just like, it's different ways of doing things also.
Yes.
So like the way I go about doing certain things, it's just like, why don't you do control out? Because I don't do it that way. I do it this way, and I get the same result. Man, and it's one of those, we both come to the realization like, all right, it's cool. Like,
it's cool.
One of the things that I think is so interesting in relationships, and normally somebody takes on this role. I'm about to give it to you. What? Are you ready for it's about to be a bullet. It's going to go like this.
Get ready.
Because we literally just had this conversation. One of the things that's really interesting about marriage, someone often takes on this. It's okay. You don't have to hear it. They will.
Okay.
That's so interesting about marriage. And somebody often takes on this road. My way is the right way. Kevin would lead you to believe it is me.
No. Listen, I want to say something. It's not my way is the right way.
It's the only way.
It's the only and the right way.
Come on.
It's the only right way. I have figured this out. The right way to do. And the way I do is the way it is.
Because it is effective and efficient, and it is the only way, and I thought of it, therefore you should do it this way. This is the real issue. It doesn't even, I know we're talking about working together, but the reality is we just had this conversation with Belief and Yvette. You work with your partner even if you don't physically work with your partner.
You do not.
What I mean by that, if you don't collect a W-2 together or a 1099 together, you're still negotiating life together.
Yes.
You're still
Just
negotiating
picking
kids,
up dinner or
picking up the
ordering is still
kids.
working together.
Like all of those things, you're still working together. So these like personality traits come out regardless if you are working together the way we're talking, or you are just like living life together and you have to figure it out. And so what happens is, like specifically for us, is similar to you guys. Kevin, what you do is different. I know you know a lot of things. I appreciate the things you know, because there's so much things you very much know. Did you ever consider that maybe you don't know all the things?
Never. Why would I consider something that's not true?
And willing to give Kevin credit for like this. The man knows a lot of things. A lot of things about a lot of things as well. He just knows a lot of things. I know a few things, but I go deep in what I know. I just don't know a whole lot of just random unnecessary. I don't need to know all that. This man knows a lot about a lot, but he don't know everything.
That's not true.
But this is the energy I'm met
That's
with.
just not true. What do I not know? Name 17 things I don't know.
Number 17.
I remember one specific example where I had to let well enough be. Melissa was editing something on Final Draft Cut.
I had to be cut because I hate
Final Cut in our old house. And I mean, when I tell y'all the answer was 0.6 seconds, if I could just show you. God, all I got to do is that. When I tell you, she was like, I will die figuring it out on my own. She was like, no. She went and watched YouTube video. Took like an hour to figure it out just to let me know that she could figure it out. To her credit, she's right.
This is the thing.
The unfortunate truth is she is right.
Well,
and
this
I
is
don't
the
know
thing.
everything,
There
but I
is
do know most of
the
the
thing
things.
about
Masterclass
the
is
both
on
of
right
you.
now.
Hold
Shut
on.
up.
The thing about the both of you is that you took 12, 15, whatever number it is, 10 plus years, because that'll capture the both of you, 10 plus years to get where you are. You learned, you made mistakes, you learned, you grew, and now you are where you are. When you don't allow people to go through their path, it doesn't stick the same. So for me personally,
Tell him, Liz. God
so
dang.
the day he's talking
Fine,
about,
struggle.
we use it all the time. Yes. Then fine.
I'll never
Then
talk
fine.
to you again.
Exactly. But it's like,
Much less help you. I will never speak until you again.
but if you allow
Jojo, could
me
you tell the person sitting next
over
to
there,
you?
if they would just hit 1, 2, 3 X,
Right.
then it would all work out very quickly. But the thing about it is, I say this all the time. I feel like I can learn anything. Like, die right now, I could probably figure out how to save you. Just pull up a YouTube video.
Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Pull
Pull up
this
a
up.
YouTube video.
Hold on, just drink it. I'll figure out the
Yeah,
rest.
don't worry about it. Die right now. Pull up a YouTube video. I will keep you alive. Or maybe you die, but the next person, they're definitely staying alive.
Next person, I got it.
Next time I got it.
Bam.
Don't worry about the
Maybe
next.
you die.
Just die. Be the second person to die. I'm gonna help you come back to life.
But
First
yeah.
person.
Also, is like stripping the satisfaction of giving someone.
Yes.
I figured that out.
I figured it out.
Now, let me tell you, the part of the story he is not giving, though, is
I
that
ain't giving no story. What
no, the part of the
Whatever
this,
you was thinking
this
is
side,
why it's wrong.
the part of the side is that I will show Marcus something that he's asked, and then what will you do?
And then what will you do?
What would I do?
A couple of weeks later, what you gonna have me do?
I'm gonna ask you again. Show me.
Oh,
And then a couple of weeks later,
Yeah, I'm
show
gonna ask
me
you
again.
one more time.
And then I'll be like,
But it'll be something that I'm only doing once every couple of weeks.
Oh.
It ain't like I'm doing it every day.
write it down.
No.
I'm good for it. Or this other thing I do. I have a whole YouTube folder
Oh, that's smart.
with all the tutorials that I know work good. And this, so now I know I'm gonna forget how to do this.
right. But that is but true. When Marcus has YouTube stuff, he's got it. Versus when I show him. When I show
But when
him,
I
he'll
want to
forget.
figure it out, it's just like it's easier for you to just
Why
show
would
me.
you want to figure it out? I done did that already in 07
Well, this is
when
the
you was
thing.
at
There
work.
is an appreciation though for. Listen, I'm not saying what I'm doing is right either, because low key I'm causing myself a lot of time that I ain't got all the time to be spending learning stuff that he already know. I agree.
Right. Yeah.
I agree. But sometimes
Shut up and
there
help us
is
when we
there is a balance between the two. Become the safe space to ask the question.
Yeah. Simple as that.
That's why that's therapy.
All right then. Quit
Therapy
talking about
showed
it.
me.
And just do it.
That's why therapy. I was like, okay, safe space. He can ask me when it's time. He asks. Okay. Yeah. Oh, it is. Ooh, it be.
She asked me, she said, so why can't you remember to do this? Heifer, last time I did this was 6 weeks ago.
Man, listen.
Okay?
That's
you showed
real.
me one
You don't
time.
do the
No, I
same
didn't
thing
write it
over and
down.
over and over again. I don't.
I'll be like,
She
write
said,
it
what
down.
will help you remember? Repetition.
Yes.
What about writing it down? No, repetition.
Come back over here. Show me one more time.
In 6 weeks, I'll see you.
Exactly. Give me a year, 6 weeks in between.
Yeah.
I figured out by then.
Then
Yeah.
I'll be proud of myself. Guess what
Correct.
I did. Look.
Look at it. Look how it came together.
Did it. Bingo, bongo.
Yes.
There it is.
Therapy is so good because I definitely think that it teaches you those areas. Like, do you feel like this is interesting about therapy? I've said things to Kevin. Actually, I could say he said things to me, and then your therapist saying, you be like, I see that.
Mm-hmm.
Even though your spouse told you that same thing over and over and over again, for whatever reason you couldn't hear it or see it, and then your therapist says it, and all of a sudden it just makes all the sense in the world.
You know,
I was going to say therapist. Angel does it with friends.
see,
Kev too.
jerk.
No, it's a common thing. It's like, wives don't be like, their husband could tell them something 15 times. Let them hear it from somebody else. You know what?
No,
I don't know
what it
what
is-
that third party does, but it be making the sense.
She says it right, and so that's what helps me. Is that she says it correctly, in order for me to be like, oh, that's what he was meaning. He said it wrong. That's why I didn't get it. So him like, because it would have been nicer as if she would have said he was wrong, but
Should have been like, oh, okay.
unfortunately,
now I'm all
in.
in.
Right.
Now I'm all in.
Yeah, start off with that.
Unfortunately, she didn't say that. What she did was she helped articulate it in ways that I could compute what he had been saying. And then I was like, oh, bet if you would have said it that way, we could have already been here, but you didn't say it that way.
Correct.
Yeah, so that's what I was hoping for. Like, oh, Marcus, she's initiating. Allow her to help, do the thing. But she was
You're
like,
like, Angel.
she was like, you're good at initiating conversation.
I love this
He does
reframe.
not- but that's not when you have to allow him to want to enter the conversation.
Boy, ain't nothing worse than
with
thinking
you.
your therapist is going to be on your side and they take the other side. I'm talking about, I've been waiting for Monday at 6. I'm going to tell you how she was wrong all week. I'm going to start this. Y'all didn't want to talk about, yes. Wait, how I'm wrong.
Yeah.
No, I told you it was her. I've been in that situation many a time.
I go in with the thought process of I'm probably wrong.
Man.
And then when I'm not, I'm just like, you damn right.
I think
And I don't look at Angel, but I'll be like, in my mind, I'll be like,
And he know. I'll fire her
she
right
can
on the
feel-
spot. Well, she
can-
wrong.
She can feel the energy. I'm
Yeah.
just
I'll be ready for it.
My eyes are big.
like, yeah, my eyes are real
She
big
she
right
gets into me, but Kev don't. He just don't be hearing it when she gets into me. He always thinks she go fighting with you.
No, she always goes off on me.
It's just not the truth, though.
It
She be
is
yelling at
100%
Liz.
true.
And you just like,
It is
she
my
yelling
truth,
at
therefore
her.
the truth.
Exactly.
The
Therefore, the
I
truth.
told my therapist one time, I said, if y'all want to tag team me, then let me know that match up front. Okay? Because I thought this was one-on-one. You tagging her, I can't tag you.
I can't
So
tell
y'all jumping me in. She's
It was
like,
literally the one time where she was like, "We're just gonna land the plane here and stay on Kevin," and he was just like, "Oh, oh." So everyone wants to beat me up.
the only session he remembers.
Correct.
it was me in the office. I had a gun on her. And I gun.
Literally every other one. She was like, "Kevin, does that make sense to you?" I was like, "First of all, it makes sense to me. So why would you ask him?" I don't understand this line of questioning.
That don't make any sense. What?
One thing I think therapy was really helpful for, and I think that's why quarantine was especially helpful, it not escalated, sped up. What's that called?
Accelerated.
Accelerated something we should have been doing anyway, and it made it like impossible to ignore. But the therapist knows how to ask questions and make things clear that if you're beefing, it's hard to hear clearly a person you're frustrated with anyway. So if you're beefing and she'd be like, what Melissa's saying is that, I'd be like, oh, it's kind of like you were joking about JoJo, tell that person that. When it goes through, it's like filtered now. And especially our type of therapy is emotionally focused therapy. And as a person who is results driven and efficiency driven, I often don't take in feelings as a part of my equation. And the therapist and Melissa, feelings is the only thing that matters. Even if the truth is the truth, if you don't feel that way or you feel opposite, then it doesn't really matter if your Melissa doesn't feel that way. And we're talking in another thing. Melissa be like, she was saying, I can know I'm triggered, know how to come out of it, and my feelings will have me stay there anyway. Be fully aware. I shouldn't be thinking like this. I shouldn't be doing this. And your feelings be like, man, F all that. This is what we feel. Right, guys? And they'd be like, And then logic goes out the window. Training goes out the window. So when we're in therapy and we're focused on feelings instead of the other stuff, it allows me to speak to that. And if you get the feelings on your side, then you win. You know what I'm saying? Then logic can come into play.
Before, I want to ask you too, your style of therapy, but I have two things I want to say just really quickly on this, because I think this whole therapy portion is really important. The other part about emotionally focused therapy, I surprise you guys, I'm actually really emotional. I know you guys didn't know that beforehand, but I just want to make sure I'm very transparent in that. But because I listen to a lot of podcasts and read books and do all of these like self-help things, which I'm totally off of, by the way, I started reading, total side note, I started reading this romance novel in my book club. Let me tell you something. Best thing I ever did.
Good.
It's just good, juicy reality TV, but you're flipping pages instead.
Nice.
Fantastic. Anyway, it wasn't smut, but like
Smut's good too.
I would never. No, it wasn't smut, but it was good.
It was soft smut.
It was soft smut. But what I was gonna say is, because I do a lot of work, I don't actually stay in emotion as much as I move into logic. I can think my feelings instead of feel my feelings.
Oh yeah, that's good. I like that.
And so oftentimes what actually my therapist will tell me, it's the danger in being, every therapist I've ever went to has been like, you're just so self-aware. Shut up. The danger in that is that I think too much. I think myself about my feelings. And so what my therapist will say with Kevin and I is, Melissa, you're up here. And what I need you to do is move down here. And oftentimes, immediately that triggers crying for me, because I've said this a gazillion times. Because I am self-aware and because I can string a sentence together, once I understand my feelings, my words can cut deep and sharp, quick. When I move into my feelings, they're softer. And I start telling you how I feel and not about how you just pissed me off. And let me tell you why this. Instead, they're like, so you hit and I be insecure and then all of a sudden, and that's different. And it lands different on the person you're talking to versus when I'm very much in my, okay, so listen. Yes. What happened was, and you said this, and let me tell you why that was wrong, okay? Because you're selfish. Do you understand what selfish means? What that means is that.
Yeah.
That I'm too far gone by that time. Yeah. And it's not going to be met with, oh, I understand. It's going to be met with, now you're defensive. You have words for me. Oh, and you come with the words. Because by that point, I've already thought about what you're going to say about me. So let me tell you why what you're talking to me about is also wrong.
Right. Gather. It's the gathering.
Oh, I'm not a gatherer, but I am a gatherer.
Yes.
I don't know what to tell you. That's very
Puts
much
him in
who
a
I
tight
am.
ponytail.
Yes. Tell me more. I don't know what we just said. I can't remember
you
my
were
question.
saying what style of therapy. I don't know. I have no idea what it's called, but we have had to do a lot of work with emotions. Like yourself, I am self-aware, and I'm more so, I thought emotions had no place in life. I was like, they're like weeds. Why are they here? They're just sprouting up, ruining things. Rip them out. One thing she taught me that has helped tremendously with him, she has this, I feel like a child, but it is so helpful. She has this emotion wheel.
Love it.
That has all of these emotions on there, and then as you get to the smaller circle, there's more emotions, right? And I operate mainly out of what she calls the hard emotions, right? Which she was like, we as human beings aren't trained to deal with someone giving us those hard emotions. Typically, we become defensive when we're met with hard emotions. I'm
You're
mad.
saying hard or heart?
Hard.
H-A-R-D.
I'm mad. I'm
Emotions
angry.
be hard.
There you
Correct.
go.
Book 2. Listen up, penguin.
So I'm like, I'm angry, I'm mad, I'm pissed off. Those are my hard emotions. But at the core are all of my soft emotions. I'm disappointed. I'm afraid. Those are, she was like, when communicating, or so even in, not just in our personal marriage, but also in our business relationship, she has given me the tools to come to him with the soft emotions, which also helps me put the brakes on, because I can easily get like yourself, like I'm going real fast. And while Marcus is a softie concerning me, he's also no punk. So if I'm coming at him strong on some stuff, Marcus is going to very quickly
charge in. Like I look down the road, like, oh, she's running. All right. Let me run too.
Exactly. And then I still don't get the desired result, which a lot of times is just acknowledging what I'm saying, recognizing what I'm saying, and like seeing, okay, did you play a part in this or not? That's half the time. That's more than a sorry. Please just recognize that I'm not crazy in this, and this is what happened, right?
Yeah. We're suddenly the same person. This is the first time we
right
are the
there.
same.
Boom.
Cancers.
There you go. So that is, I don't know if it's emotional based, but when it concerns, because I work with her separately as well, but when it's concerning him and I needed that tool so badly, because even though I have the language to express myself and to say exactly what I meant to say, it's not going to be a lot of, oh, that's not what I meant. Nah, I said what I meant. Pretty sure I did. It's still not fully painting the total colors of everything.
Absolutely.
So if I'm all over this with this painting with all the red, because that's how I'm feeling, underneath all that is all these pastels that he's not getting to see because I didn't allow him to see that part of the picture. And he's like, F this whole painting and throw it away.
Where my lighter at?
Right.
It's flammable, ain't it?
That's good, Angel. Very good.
Yeah.
With me, it was actually kind of realizing I was doing the emotion wheel and not knowing that's what it was. Because in the moment, like, I'm mad. I know I'm mad from being married for so long and having the experience. This is like, it's best you not talk in that moment. Walk away, cool off, and then come back, and 9 times out of 10, most likely, it's changing verbally what I would say in that moment versus what I would have said earlier. So, hearing about the emotion wheel, and then Angel telling me about, like, oh, well, we talked about this, and this is the way, and then I realized it's like, so in the moments where she wants to talk about something, I'm like, I'm not ready to talk about it. That's giving me time to let me
dive deeper.
Let me first of all, let me come down off the anger, because Angel can flip it off like, oh, okay, I need time to let it simmer, turn the heat off. The water's still gonna be hot.
Right.
Let that water get to room temperature.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna take some time.
Because I'm like, get in here,
Angel's like,
burn off the
Angel's
skin.
I'm like, no. Because regardless of even if she's like, you know what, I'm sorry, I was wrong, I don't want to hear it. I just want to be mad right now. I need time to let this run through me. You know, it's like you drank the liquor, it needs to get through your system and out. It's in me. It's fusing in me. I know it is. I'm like, you know what, just give me a moment.
You can't even hear the sorry?
Oh, I can hear the sorry, but it ain't going to have the same effect as it would if I had time to just let me chill out for the whole moment.
Even in therapy, when she would ask him questions, he'd be like, you're going to have to give me a lot of time to answer what you just asked me.
Because she be just like Angel. I said, this is exhausting. I even brought you up. I said, they go to a place in their mind that I don't go. It be some deep, like, so what do you feel when this happens? And I'm like, I don't feel what? Huh?
Yeah.
So she was sitting there, she was sitting there talking. I said, you're going to have to either dumb it down or give me time to think about these answers. Because I said, right now, you're giving me a nosebleed.
Right.
I don't go here in my mind.
He said, we
It's
can't do this
untapped.
on podcast days. He was like, that we can't.
It's
He
emotionally
said,
exhausting.
I can't do both. He was like, I am drowning over here.
Yeah.
Wait. Give me a
Like, I
second to
can't-
understand what the heck you just asked me.
Yeah, I was like, I don't go there mentally.
Kevin doesn't either.
Boy, I don't.
Oh, just real quick. Was it when we were hiking? I don't know. We was on vacation in Turks and Caicos. Angel would just come out with these random questions that she thought was fun. And I'm like, and then she's like, okay, you go. What?
This is not fun for me.
No.
This is mentally
It's
draining.
difficult. It's like climbing the mountain with no shoes.
I'd be like, Melissa, what people be over and she be like, let's
Like, you
talk
don't
about
think
our
this
childhood
is fun?
traumas.
Yeah.
Why?
The questions about our marriage that I thought would be reflective and beautiful. And he was just like,
She was, And I finally came up with it. I guess, she was like, okay, your turn. I know you done lost your goddamn. Clearly, you married the wrong person. Let's rethink this.
I guess, you know what I'm saying? You understand me? What it is ain't what it ain't.
Guess what it is, it ain't. And what it
And
ain't,
then
it
you do
is.
the under your digs and like,
I really was like so excited. We were in the ocean, and I was like, "So, babe, I don't remember what the question
how
was."
could you jack this moment up of relaxation? Oh, there was a speedboat coming with a machine gun on the front. Run! That's equivalent to the same thing. We was in paradise, and all of a sudden,
beautiful. It was beautiful.
Oh, that's
He
hilarious.
didn't see it that way.
I love
I'm
those
sorry,
questions.
Kev. Go ahead.
I don't know what I was going to say, but Melissa be loving to delve deep into the emotional well on just a Thursday evening. You want a glass of wine? Why aren't you more vulnerable, huh?
He's like,
I didn't get a chance to speak to the wine part of it. What do you mean? What do you mean about the vulnerability? And she love it.
yeah.
I do.
I want to play Taboo. She want to play We're Not Really Strangers. They made the same game. I
So
want to
good.
say Tao. She want to be like, when you were 11 and they left you at home alone, how did that shape you? No.
Because it all
Angel's loving
matters.
it. Angel's like, that's
It all
nice.
matters.
That's why my therapy sessions are an hour and a half long, because I was like, hour's not enough.
Oh, I
I
told her.
want in it. I want to
said-
get in it.
I said any meeting over an hour is wasted
Too
time.
long.
She said, so Marcus, I'm wasting your time. The therapist. I said, no, this is good. However,
However, plus also.
59.
yeah, 59 minutes
59.
and 59 seconds.
I
Cut it
love
off.
those conversations.
I do too. This is how my good friendships are the ones not good. The friendships that some of the friendships that I cherish the most are the ones where I feel like we can just swim deep in conversation. It might not have been the intention when we started the talking, but then we just are. Oh, it feels so good.
My sister and I